Yo, we live, G. We talking to the people. So, boom. Last time we came on and did a live, we was talking about this Kanye West situation. But since then, obviously, like we know, dominoes gonna start falling, things gonna start getting revealed. And so that's what we talking about today, man. I got my homie Dots in the building with me.
What's good?
Nothing much. So tell me a little bit about what you've been experiencing and why you've been experiencing what you've been experiencing around this situation.
Um, I I did. It came unexpected. The video that dropped when I saw it, I immediately clicked on it. I was like, "Yo, I gotta watch this. I gotta watch this." And initially, I saw the first hour. They had to try to break it down in three parts. It's 3.5 hours, but that first hour was pretty high powered. And I want to just have a disclaimer to say that, you know, you know what? I ain't even gonna give a disclaimer. I'm not even gonna. What I'm gonna say is that the man said a lot of things about a system that we touched on the other day, a system that's in place, and this system is run by a particular contingent, and he basically called it out, and that power structure is kind of in a position of finding themselves powerless for once, because now you have someone that's not afraid to say what has been needed to be said for a while. And I'm finding it very interesting. I'm finding it very entertaining. We're watching how things are playing out. As we know, some other characters that were in this thing, in particular Nori, and these gentlemen are being forced into a position to have to apologize for words that they themselves didn't even say, but because they are in bed with this power structure, somebody has to say something, or heads are about to roll. So it'll be interesting to see how this thing plays out. We do not want to see any harm come to Kanye West. We're definitely not hoping that, and we're hoping that perhaps a real conversation can be had. That's wishful thinking, but
So, but now the thing is, you talking about a real conversation in the public, but what happened when when you was talking to people in your own inner circle about the situation?
Well, interestingly enough, because you know me, I don't hold my tongue too often, and I try to use my platform to express my views. And whenever there's someone with a stronger platform that uses their platform for something that I am passionate about, I don't mind piggybacking on that. And so I shared the information because I thought it was a great conversation starter. And I was just really shocked to see so many people that were not in line with the things that were being said. But interestingly enough, I do know some very powerful, very influential people in the media, in particular Black media influencers, and they were coming for my neck hard because what I'm finding interesting is that if you know the interview that we're talking about Kanye West on Drink Champs, and there was a very small blurb in there about George Floyd, in which he stated that George Floyd was given fentanyl by the police officers, and that the arm that was on the neck was not the thing that killed him, but it was the fentanyl. So he made this statement. I find it interesting that one statement, out of all of the statements that were made over the course of this 3.5 hours, that one statement is the one that's being picked up by the media. It's the one that's being pushed to the forefront of Black media and Black influencers. And I think it's being used as a distraction from the bigger picture and from the bigger story and from the bigger message. And it's brilliant. It's brilliant because individuals like Tembisa, who's a journalist out of Bay Area, California, who now lives in New York, Davey D. These are individuals that I know personally, and I had some interaction with both of them yesterday, and both of them were trying to go down this George Floyd rabbit hole, and I'm saying, why are we talking about George Floyd when there was so much more that transpired in this interview that needed to be talked about. So I think this is a tactic that's being utilized by the same media powerhouses that Kanye alluded to in the interview to get the conversation off of the truths that he pointed out in the interview to get it. And once again, Black people, we fall for the okie doke all the time. And it's really
so does that make you lose faith in Black people ever actually coming to power, like dealing with that level of like I want to say willful ignorance?
It's a hard one, man. It's a hard one, bro, because it's a hard one because I'm seeing just how easily we are being coerced into groupthink and group thought, and independent thought within the Black community is a rarity. And when you do meet someone who thinks for themselves, you need to cherish that person, and because it's just not. And this is what keeps us in the places that we are. The conversation that Kanye is raising, why it's important, is because of the position that he is in financially. He's the second wealthiest African-American man in the world right now, and African-American in the United States, I'll say that. And so now he's saying, I got the money, so now we have to start putting our money, let's pool our money to start building power structure and infrastructure for Black and non-white, non-Jewish entertainers to be able to express themselves freely and generate generational wealth for themselves, not for, you know, these individuals that aren't even artists, that are in executive positions, that are controlling our narrative, controlling our words. And it is so many levels to this. There's so many levels to this. I don't want to go off on a tangent, but one of the main levels, as you and I have spoken before, is the information, controlling the information. And information comes in
controlling the narrative.
And it comes in so many different fashions, especially through our entertainment.
That propaganda is a big one. This is what I want to say. It says, if you want to know who controls you, look at who you are not allowed to criticize.
Exactly.
That's a quote from a French philosopher called Voltaire.
And that's it right there. But I think this is really, I don't know if this is going to be a game changer, to be completely honest with you.
Did you have hope that it might be?
I still have hope that it might be.
Yeah.
I'm seeing how things are playing out. I still have hope that it could possibly be, if those individuals are willing to have that conversation. One thing is, you got to be a rabble rouser in order to get the attention. And Kanye is not going to probably be able to get the Jewish power structure to sit down with him to start building things that are going to be beneficial to the Black race.
Well, Louis Farrakhan has a phrase called bloodsuckers of the poor. And, you know, that's the whole idea of the reason why certain people never going to sit down and talk to you is because they benefit from you. So they don't want to sit down and have a conversation because you are their primary source of extortion. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So
this is really, it's a life and death game. I hate to say that. I did read a blurb this morning that he is buying a platform that will compete up against Twitter. It is a conservative-based platform, but since these other platforms want to silence him by not allowing him to post or express himself, he's buying his own. So this is a step in the right direction. It doesn't mean that we're giving him an outlet for hate speech, but the problem is that no one has any problem with us speaking negatively about ourselves or to ourselves.
And that's usually not adults. One of the biggest issues that I have about them talking about self-hate and us speaking bad about ourselves is that these are usually little kids that come from the hood that's trying to escape poverty. And these are the people that's signing the record deals, and these are the people that's being put on the radio. Most of these kids, by the time they hit 27, 28, 30 years old, they like, man, I can't believe I was making that kind of music. But you taking little Black boys from the inner city with no parental guidance, and we saying that, we basically blaming them for making this drill music and making this type of music. And it's like, what do you expect? You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those where it's like, a lot of people rebuttal to what you're saying is, then why do black people make self-hate music? You can't blame somebody else for allowing y'all to make self-hate music. But my rebuttal to that is, most of the people that's making self-hate music is young black boys with no parental guidance, and they're being used. They're being used.
I mean, this is very similar to the chicken and the egg debate. And my question to you would be, do you believe that these youth see that there's no other way?
Yeah.
Because it's successful. So if I do this type of music and I see that someone else that came before me did this type of music, or are they doing this music because they generally relate to the sentiment?
I think that, I was thinking about this the other day, right? Because now, we monetized on YouTube. And I was thinking about this the other day. And ever since I got monetized, I'm much more like putting in the energy and the effort, because I know it's going to be rewarded. So, I never forget. I mean, listen, since this has come out, Slim Thug was talking about when he he went out to California. They was like, yo, come over with Dr. Dre. You know what I mean? Y'all come over to the house. And Slim Thug was basically saying, anywho's, listen, that is some foul play going on. And then Rakim, remember, he was supposed to be working with Dr. Dre. And he was like, Dr. Dre only want me to talk about destructive things, and I won't talk about that stuff. So it was really hard for us to really get on the same frequency, because the kind of music he wanted me to make, I don't make that kind of music. You know what I'm saying? So,
and it's interesting because although, let's just take Dr. Dre for instance, a lot of people see NWA as being the
first gangster rap group, yeah.
But if you really listen to the words, and even the first two Ice Cube albums,
Sort of Rebel,
it was more of giving you a picture of what was going on in the hood. And in some instances, they would even denounce those things. He didn't become as crass until The Chronic, because he started seeing that, wait a minute, this is cool, but it seems like the path they really want to go down is this path. And it was at that time that he developed his relationship with Jimmy Iovine.
Yes.
So we always talk about Dre, or not Dre, but we always talk about these gatekeepers. These are the people that are between us and the power structure. And they have a responsibility to the power structure.
Right.
He's good friends with Jimmy Iovine, but I can assure you that the average artist that he's working with, it probably has no access to Jimmy Iovine whatsoever.
Right.
His job is just relay to them what is expected of them as an artist.
Right.
So we can sell these records.
Right.
Now, my question also would be too, and this could be just like
so hold on, let me make sure I answer your first question. Basically, when these because we talk about social engineering, when these social engineers get together, they realize how powerful it is to get, how powerful money is. And they realize if we drop money over in this corner, that's where everybody gonna run. See, it's important to realize that who controls the money. And that's what you see when the bank shut down, when the bank tell you you can't bank with us no more. You seeing who lays down the cheese trap. See, they transcended money. We believe that if we have money, we will be able to compete. But you can't compete with the person that created it. You see what I'm saying? Because the money is not a real thing. So if you believe that by you getting money, that's going to help you overthrow the powers that be, you just falling deeper and deeper into their trap. And they let you know, man, what you talking about? Tomorrow, that $1 billion you got, we could print enough money to where that $1 billion is like really worth 100 million 20 years ago. We could just inflate the price and send all the money back to us. So when you play this money game with these people, they just keep moving the money. They keep moving the money, and it's like an experiment, and they watch us run to the money. So I definitely think that the financial incentive to make gangster rap is the reason why gangster rap is in place today for sure.
But okay, so you're saying that if we had a bunch of kids that decided we wanted to rap about things that were positive, like school and things like that, those things inherently will not sell.
No, they will sell
If the machine got
if the machine got behind it. Yes.
Same level.
Yes, people want that music, right? People love that kind of music. When Marvin Gaye wanted to make What's Going On, right? And they said that would, that song ain't gonna do nothing. And it ended up being his most successful single. Like, the question is not whether or not the music is sellable, right? That's never been the question. We understand that that's a lie that they've been telling us, and one of the main reasons we know that that's a lie they've been telling us is because of the internet. We have so many people that no longer deal with the mainstream media, and they get to watch what they want to watch and listen to what they want to listen to. And most of what people want to watch and what people want to listen to is things that don't resemble what's on the mainstream. Most people don't want to hear what's on the radio. If you ask the average person what they listening to today, they're not listening to that. They not.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
The initial power structure of the people that came over here were the British. So basically the Aryans. The Jews, the descendants of the Israelis that came here and set up shop within the entertainment industry, within the law industry, the Ashkenazi Jews, they run the entertainment industry from television, film, music. Okay, now, I think we as a people, sometimes we box them all in together. So it's like white is white. So my question is, who is it that hates us that bad? Is it the Aryans? Is it the Ashkenazi Jews because they run the machine, the system? Is it both? Is it everybody? Who wants to see us do so poorly? Because the whites that we generalize these people to be,
we fighting ghosts.
They don't have no power.
Well, one of the things that we got to understand is this, brother. We got a lot of enemies. And see, that's one of the problems.
Is it one particular group?
No, what I'm saying is that what I like to do is this. I like to actually look at the past. And the KKK was an enemy. You understand what I'm saying? They wasn't Jews. They was an enemy. I mean, listen, one of the things that we have to understand about man is a savage. And the thing that one of the biggest detractors to the black movement was integration. You understand? Because there's no group of men that is actually allies with another group of men, and unless they say they allies. You see what I'm saying? Like when I was in Kenya and I was in Mombasa and I was at different ports, like you had all men have gone to war with each other. You understand? Men don't generally just get along with each other. Everything that we do as men is about our family, our legacy. It's about what we doing for our people. And like rappers say, if I can't eat with you, then fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, that's the mentality of men in this savage world. So, when it comes to black people, we have to we have to look at people that say they are allies, but they're really not. And they're not, because when you start speaking, they like, hold up, why are you thinking for yourself? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? And then we have to look at open enemies, because every enemy is not just going to be like, hey, I'm an enemy. But the KKK is not Jewish. You know what I'm saying? The Native Americans, when we had these things going on, the Native Americans became our enemy. You understand? That's why.
Seeing that we know for a fact that the Jewish people own the machine. Is there an effort on the part of the Jewish people to see us fail as a society and as a community through our efforts utilizing their machine.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's in everybody. It's in everybody's best interest in the United States of America to see us fail as a
So,
people.
okay, so that's music, entertainment, film. So we're gonna always allow stuff like BMF. We're gonna allow power. We're gonna allow anything that puts us in an image which shows the destruction of of us on our own. When the music, we're gonna allow that. Okay. Now we know that 70% of the NFL teams are owned by Jewish individuals.
Yes.
These individuals go out and basically fight for you, your Jewish owner. They pay them exorbitant amounts of money. Are they also in that area? Are they also looking for these gentlemen to fail, or do they see them as different because, oh no, these are my athletes, so I want them to succeed, but I don't really.
Kanye West said it best. He said one Negro can succeed, but not all of y'all. So you got to think about it. Like I was in Albany, Georgia, and I was at the Mosh Jig, and this one older brother was telling me about when Jaleel White came to Albany, and his handlers told him that he cannot go and hang out with them, you know. And so he wanted to, but who's telling him he can't, where he can and cannot go? And so, you know, he might want to come through and drop off a donation or do something like that. And what they do to you, Jalen Rose, right? You heard about Jalen Rose's sister getting evicted? Yeah, that just came out. But if you've been paying attention to Jalen Rose, he been dropping a lot of gems.
But isn't she getting evicted from his house?
Yes, but why is that in the news? See, it's in the news because Jalen Rose has been exposing a bunch of stuff. Because you remember Fab Five and everything they went through. I mean, they was popping. So Jalen Rose been saying stuff like every sport that black people in, they try to milk black people as much as they can before they allow them to start making money. So he like, when you look at football, how long you got to go to the NFL? When you look at basketball, how long you got to go to college and give these people, you know, your talents to fill up stadiums for free? He said. So, and he said, and then look, in baseball, you can get a 10-year contract. In basketball, you know, people not getting contracts that long. Basically, what he was saying is that, you know, they just want to use us up and discard us. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, he's been saying stuff like that. And then this story come out about his sister getting evicted. You know what I'm saying? So it's people out. It's what Kanye West is saying is not a new conversation. What Jalen Rose is saying is not a new conversation. It's an old conversation. So then the question becomes, this is where we always get lost. What's the solution? You see, that's where we always.
And I think that what we're doing right here is part of the solution. I think when people in positions of power like Kanye West now are saying, "Hey, I want to buy a bank," you know, or I want to build the factories here in the United States to manufacture and sell this clothes that I'm making. I want to, you know,
that will get Kanye West murked building a bank. That's what got JFK, his whole family. That's what got them murked. That's what got Black Wall Street burned down. They are not ever going to allow you to come up with a currency that they cannot control.
Well, I think we got a bigger problem though first, which is, and this thing is exposing, is that Black unity is less of a thing than even I imagine it is. We just do not stick together. There is more Black people right now tearing this man apart for him expressing himself freely in a country where it says you can express yourself. That we got to start there. If we can't get that together, which we've been talking about for generations, not just years, generations.
You was at the Million Man March.
I was there. I mean, we were coming like in the airport, hugging random Black men, just feeling good about going back to our homes,
right,
starting fresh, and what we were going to do in society. And I can't say that nothing happened, because I'm sure one out of all those black men went wherever he came from and did something beneficial. I continue to try to be of benefit to people on a daily basis, but the key is we need to come together, pool our resources, get our strongest minds. Like even with Kanye, this narrative of him being crazy and that he's not taking his medication, if people don't get past that, they're never going to be able to
Well,
hear anything out of this man's mouth. They holding against him the fact that he said he's not a reader.
Did you see me on Facebook the other day going live talking to my children? Did you tune in? Because Venus was holding the phone.
No.
Okay.
I didn't see that one.
Well, here's the thing. It's important to educate our children because cycles repeat themselves.
Right.
So the reason why that's important is because they just did the same thing to Dave Chappelle. So if you are still falling for the crazy narrative, after they did it to Martin Lawrence, after they did it to Dave Chappelle, after they did that so many times, that means that the knowledge, the information, the narrative, the old tricks are not being passed down. Now, like, what we have to understand is that what these people said they would do is play the role of a victim anytime they get attacked, which is very interesting and very effective. And also how they could take anything you said and create something to divert the attention somewhere else. Like, so
what do we need to be, what we're saying essentially is what's even deeper before we can get to Black unity is we need to get people in classes of critical thought. I don't know if critical thought can be taught. I imagine it could, but I think what you have to do is figure out who is tapping into a greater degree of their brain capacity, who in our society is tapping to a great. See, sometimes we hold these celebrities to a certain level because they're celebrities, because they got our attention, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're tapped in. So it's like we listen to the Diddy's, we listen to the Nick Cannons, and the machine knows that we listen to these people and they're driving the course of our existence. But there are way more intelligent, intellectually sound individuals out there.
But they never get the mic. Cardi B gets the mic.
So what do we do? So we need to locate these individuals. We need to have more podcasts like this,
right?
We're talking about stuff and just inundate the system
with
until
this.
People start listening.
Well, the main thing is this, though. When I look at, I have a book that I was working on called The Devil's Plan. And when you look at the devil's plan, we have to understand what the devil's plan is, because that's how we can reverse it. The devil's plan, first and foremost, is demoralization. And it takes 20 years to demoralize a people. All right. So the second is destabilization. That's basically dealing with money. All right. Once we integrated as a people, we became destabilized. We don't own nothing in our communities no more, which is part of the reason why we can't, come together, because everybody like, bro, I'm in a rush. I gotta make money. I gotta make money. I gotta make money. And when you need money, so it's very difficult for you to get people to listen to you if you're not feeding them. You see what I'm saying? Right. The third thing is a breakdown of the whole system, an emergency. And the fourth thing is the new normal. So this is the steps of the devil to penetrate any culture, right? And so I think more than critical thought, like what we have to understand, and what I said the other day, is the power of emotions. Emotions are extremely powerful, and emotions deal with the morale of a people. How do the people feel about one another? Like you said something very key. After going to the Million Man March, brothers was hugging each other. There was a certain love that was there, that was present. Now, during that time, you had what's my guy name? Super black guy. His son came out with a syrup and got rich. Um, he was on Donahue. But you had a lot of Muslim brothers that was putting things together back then to deal with the community. A lot of them got snuffed out. A lot of them got called anti-Semites, and they got silenced. You see what I'm saying? And so we have to, uh, before we start dealing with critical thought, we have to get back to what, Mom was preaching about on Saturday, which is love. Because without love, nothing's possible. You know what I'm saying? And how is it that you restore how does the devil take your morale? The devil takes your morale. First and foremost, people don't want to hear this. But the reality is, I said it and I'm going to say it again. Kanye West's fourth single was Jesus Walks. They said, I was listening to Jason Whitlock. I know a lot of people don't like him, but Jason Whitlock said, we took the fear of God out of everybody. And he said, we used to fear God and nothing else. Now we don't fear God and we fear everything. And so, it's one of those things where you even know, and I heard
People take pride
in being an atheist. They take pride in that. And that was the only thing that was holding the black community together in the first place, was the church. And so that was the place where critical thought was happening. And
to some degree, but I think what happened over time is we lost the message, and I think that's why what's happening now in our particular church that we attend is so key, is that we're getting back to the word. Because as long as you stay immersed in the word, like I think Kanye missed a golden opportunity when Nori was asking him, like, but we just want to say that you love the Jewish people and that you love all people, And Kanye, his retort was, no, I'm jealous of the Jewish people. And I think that was a golden opportunity
for the olive branch.
Hey, you want to make sure that, however they perceive it, you want to make sure that you're very clear on your message, but you're not doing it to hurt anybody or to cause harm or anything like that. And I think that was a golden opportunity, because I have the same struggle myself. I envy is one of the,
7 sins, yeah.
And I envy them because of what they were able to produce. Did we know as a people, did everyone else know that it was going to be a system that was going to turn against us?
But Jewish people been had that power. Like when you go to the Bible and you look at Jews, there's no way that, like Kanye said, there's no way you could be against Jews. But the thing is, we have to be very clear that that is Christ, and then there's everything else. And the thing is, there was some Jewish people that joined Christ. You understand? In the Bible, it was some Jews that was going back to the Jewish people saying, hey, you got to roll with Christ. And last night I was reading Exodus, and then I'm gonna wrap it up. I'll let you get the last word. But I was looking at Exodus, and Exodus was when Moses came in and he said, let my people go. And he said it once and they did not listen. He said it twice. They did not listen. And each time he didn't just say it, he cursed the people. He said, Lord God, and he put a curse on the people. He put a plague on them, a hailstorm, like a bunch of stuff that he did in Exodus, saying, let my people go. And the pharaohs were so stubborn that they refused to let go of God's people. And so at some point, obviously, they had to let go of God's people, but they did it very reluctantly. And I'm still reading it to learn more about it. But like I said, man, either you with Jesus or you not with Jesus. If you're not with Jesus, then you're not a part of the new covenant. You're not a part, like I told my wife, I said, Jesus is the highest frequency. Like I got a book, and it talks about the hidden messages of water, and it talks about like if you say hate, water crystals form a certain way. If you say love, certain words actually have a vibration. Well, when you look at like how when you use Jesus Christ's name, how things move, that's the ultimate vibration. And in Corinthians, what we was reading was love, which is the highest of vibrations. And so I think that when they say a change is possible, but I don't, if you are like when they talk about the Jews, if you are envious because of what they have, I think that's putting our attention in the wrong place, in my personal opinion. If I was going to be envious of somebody, I would be envious of them because I wish that I had the love. And so I do have the love, and I think that we have the love, and I think we just have to spread love more. And by doing that, it sounds so simple and so cheesy, but by doing that, you at least start to change the vibration around you and the people that that you interact with. You know what I'm
And I
saying?
think that I think the even greater key, and I'm glad that you ended on that note. The greater key, and this is something that I speak with a dear friend of mine about regularly, is this. At the end of the day, everything that we're experiencing right now has already been spelled out in the word. And so making these connections between the word and what's happening is really the key at the end of the day, because it gives you clarity so that you're not in any degree of shock or surprise of what you're seeing. Nothing should surprise you because it's all right there.
Right.
This is what's come to be expected. So I think the key is going forward, if we continue to make these connections with the word and what's happening, it'll make our job easier because we can always default to that. It's easy to do. See, when we try to give people the answers, that's where we run into issues. Sometimes, God gives us intelligence and intellect, but it's all based in Him. So if we can always revert to that, I think it'll give us more clarity on where it is that we should be going and how we should deal with these subjects that's going to continue to arise on a daily basis.
Bro, some people don't even know how to deal with love. Like a person to think if you say you love them, that means y'all got to be sleeping together. Or if you say you love them, it's like, hold up, you going a little bit too deep. Like people run from love.
Because there's a lot of pain. There's a lot of pain inside of people. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of pain out here, period. There's a lot of different subjects that we could talk about that deal with pain and deal with love. And that's usually at the end of the day, it's one of the two. Either
Right.
you're out here
Love,
loving or
yeah.
you're out here hurting.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure we'll revisit this conversation as we see how things
Yeah, because we didn't even talk about Nori. And like,
apologizing tour that he's on right now?
Yeah, is that necessary to have somebody to say, I'll fall on the sword for you, yay, and I'll go on the apology tour for you? Like, I don't know if Nori is like in the Underground Railroad and he was like, I flipped on the light by mistake and so they ran through, or if like, because you do have to have people that do little stuff like that. Like somebody was like, I'd rather apologize later than ask for permission.
If what he did was intentional, then I applaud him, because he had to know. I mean, come on, he sat there for 3.5 hours. At what point?
He had to know.
He had to know,
right?
What he was doing.
So that's why I'm like, he just pulled a street move, and he's basically making like a half-hearted apology because he had to know.
He had to know, but then he also, in both instances where I saw him apologize in the Breakfast Club and with Hot 97, in both instances he did defer to the fact that, hey, it's called Drink Champs, so we in there drinking, we in there getting.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly.
Is that a cop out? Possibly.
But do you need a cop out? Possibly. Possibly.
I've seen people come on there that don't smoke and drink, and they'll not smoke. They'll maybe have a couple sips, but because those people want to come in, they're clear headed, whatever. But it's Kanye, and so it's interesting. I mean, it's entertaining if anything.
And don't Jay-Z own Douce?
Yeah.
And Kanye made sure he kept drinking Douce.
I'm only drinking Douce. That's it.
So we don't know where all of this shit is going because black people may be getting better at throwing a rock and hiding their hand. It may quite possibly be that these dudes are getting good at like oops, my bad. Oh, I pushed the line on that. My bad.
I mean, he said a bunch of things. He said, "Watch the throne is coming." He's drinking Douce, so it's like, wait.
Oh, he said, "Watch the throne is coming." Oh.
So is Jay in bed with him? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Jay playing diplomatic and not saying nothing.
Because you need Jay to be diplomatic. You need Nori to. Right. Never. Diddy, I don't know if Diddy working with them. You know what I mean?
That's Diddy platform.
Yeah, exactly. That Revolt is Diddy's. That's why I'm like, it's in some ways I'm like, I don't know if these dudes is really like
Diddy's smart. Diddy said the other day it's black first. So, and he also said Kanye or nothing. So he fucks with Kanye, excuse my language. So yeah.
It's something.
Yeah.
It's my spidey senses.
They working up something.
Exactly.
Hey, more power to them. I mean, yeah.
But we still got to deal with the reality of how trauma and death is being pushed in the culture.
Right.
We still got to deal with that reality.
I was waiting for him to say, "Hey, I've been responsible for some of the worst filth that's been in the music industry."
Right.
But at least he acknowledged that it's there.
I will say though, with Puff, the most egregious stuff he put out was really with the Puff Daddy's reputation is actually making like shiny suit music. His thing is not really destruction music. Because then the Locks, even when they was with him, they was like, we don't want to rap about that type of stuff, And as soon as they went to Rough Riders, that's when they started really just killing 10 people in one song. But I can pretty much say that Diddy really don't have the reputation of making that type of music. Even, you know what I'm saying?
He always encouraged total expression. Even early on, when it was mistaken as being commercial, he still pushed lyricism. So you're absolutely right. He definitely can't be held responsible.
Not one of the people pushing that in the culture.
He pushed some filth, but not
like them. And so my thing is, sometimes they say like whenever great things are about to happen, you do have a big contrast. Like it's the darkest before it's the light. You know what I'm saying? And so, maybe what we're seeing in our culture right now is like this dark period where we done went from, like you said, NWA, that was niggas with an attitude, and that was political. They was talking about F the police, just like Chuck D and them, and it got turned into something different over time. But the music was revolutionary, and so we are at a point now with the music where it's so blatantly raunchy and vile and violent that I truly think this is the darkest our music can get. Something darker. You got Lil Nas X. I think it can get. I don't think it can get this dark.
On the devil, you can't top that. But the video he did after that, he was dancing naked in jail. So
and I'm not saying because devil worshiping has been around.
You got to.
Sammy Davis Jr. made a whole devil movie with a red phone.
Got to.
So I'm not saying that it's new, but what I'm saying is that this right here to me is like when you have like a serial killer and then they actually start exposing their hand more. I think the devil is getting more boastful about the destruction. Whereas before, you listen to Sammy Davis Jr. music or you listen to some of these guys' music, it wasn't as blatantly devilish as this music. It wasn't as blatant. Right. And then I also say this too, bro. Like a lot of times we say, just as a counter argument, we say, black people, we don't see them making music about killing themselves, right? But we do see movies in which these things happen. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and we make the and basically what we say is, can you blame somebody? Can you blame somebody if a kid play violent video games? That has nothing to do with him actually being violent. So a lot of times people make the argument: how much does the music have to do with what's actually happening?
See some psychological studies done on that, but unfortunately, it won't be done because it makes too much money. I just saw a 2-minute commercial for Call of Duty that had like some of the top celebrities in the world in it. It's selling Call of Duty.
Well, I gotta hold you accountable for how smart you are, because you do have a study that you told me about the power of music and not going past the 4th grade level.
Yeah.
MK Ultra.
Yeah,
It's already been studied.
I want to see these first-person shooters and these different video games that's coming out, like,
and the direct impact.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you get hooked their brainwaves up to something while they playing to see.
I just watched something this morning about the most remote island off of the coast of Alaska, and they got video games up there. You can't even get to this island without a plane. And these people don't even want you there. You got to be invited. But they up there playing Call of Duty. They up there playing Grand Theft Auto. So, they not shooting each other, though. But, I mean, that's
right.
Another conversation.
But, I appreciate you coming through, man. Party crashers.
For sure.
Peace.